Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. At Chelsea talk about the Raheem Sterling situation. Enzo Maresca is praising Marc Guiu for his hard work. Joao Pedro wants to be the new Drogba, and Mudryk is serving another ban. Now, of course, I begin my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. If you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. You can also use the hype button, which is a new YouTube feature which helps pushes these videos out to a bigger audience. Kicking things off, Cole Palmer has posted this carousel to his Instagram saying soon back, with the first picture being him playing at Stamford Bridge. That's a cold photo, by the way. Now, this is the only thing that we've seen regarding Cole Palmer's injury. There's been no official reports or updates or dates that he's returning, but Palmer himself is saying, I'm soon going to be back. And I'm hoping and praying that he's back for after the international break, because we don't want Palmer out for a long period of time. Him in the squad just elevates things so much. I feel like we can cope without him for the time being, for sure, because we've got players like Esteval and Joao Pedro that can play in the 10 to a very high standard, but nothing beats having Cole Palmer. Now, I'm not the type of creator that goes through all the Instagrams and looks for cryptic messaging and, oh, what does this mean, and clutch at straws, etc. And if that's your thing, cool, not a problem with it at all. I just don't really like doing that. However, this kind of makes sense because it actually relates to him, maybe coming back from injury. So, just a very quick one to say that we've had some sort of injury update in terms of Palmer saying himself that he's nearly back to full fitness, or he's going to be back very soon. So I'm hoping this international break he can recover fully and he can be reintegrated into the squad and start playing minutes from the first game back. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Cole Palmer's injury. When do you think he will be back? Will he be back for that first game of the international break? Or do you think he's going to be out for a lot longer and this is some sort of ruse to kind of tease people saying, I'm on my way, but I'm not quite there yet? Sami Mukbel and Nizar Kinsella of the BBC have reported there now appears to be a reluctance from Chelsea to pay Raheem Sterling up. He appears reluctant to give Chelsea an easy route out of their agreement. Both stances are somewhat understandable. They go on to report that Chelsea respects Sterling's position and are understanding of his reluctance to uproot his family for the second time in 3 years. Chelsea felt his wages limited the options they could present to Sterling, particularly with a regard of his preference to stay close to London. Now, I've said this a few times regarding Sterling, and you guys have said he's one of the hardest players to offload in this summer window just gone, and I totally agree. Massive wages of 300 grand a week. He wants to stay close to his family and wants to have his family in London. That does limit the opportunities in terms of clubs that can afford to pay it. Chelsea obviously want to offload him, so they don't want to be paying anything to do with his wages. We got away with one last year by loaning him to Arsenal and paying a percentage of his wages, and Arsenal matched it. So, it worked out like a 50-50 or a 60-40, whatever the split was. It kind of took a little bit of the pressure of the wages off of Chelsea. But ultimately, both parties have fair grounds here. It is very understandable from both sides. Chelsea want to move him on. Sterling knows that, but Sterling's also like, I want to stay in these sort of areas and this is what I want to be doing. Chelsea like, fair enough, but you're kind of making it very difficult. And I honestly feel like it's Chelsea's own doing. This is Chelsea's own doing. And as much as I love our club, this is a rock and a hard place situation. We can't tear his contract up because it's going to cost us to pay him out, which will be upwards of around 20 million in wages just to tie up the contract. I don't see Chelsea just throwing 20 million away for the sake of it when there could be an alternative for Sterling. They couldn't find him a suitor this summer because no one could pay the wages. We were even talking with Fulham about, okay, right, we'll amortise it. So we'll pay the 20 million. So then you can pay 20 million. So we won't make any money. It will be like a, even books deal and you can get the player. And that didn't go through. They end up going for other players or whatnot. It just becomes very, very difficult to find a suitor for Raheem Sterling. But fair play to him. Fair play to Sterling, because why would you give up the wages and the contract that you're on? If you're happy to not play first team football because you understand and acknowledge that you're not part of the project and you're not going to be playing game time, but you're securing the bag at 300 grand a week and you've got that coming in as a guarantee for at least 2 years, you can stay in London close to your family and have probably more free time to himself because he's not going to games, etc., or he's just training or whatever, doing the sort of the basic contractual needs is required. Why would you? Why would you throw all that away? The only way I would say that, and this is quite contradictory of myself, and I'll hold my hands up because I always feel like professional footballers just want to play football. That's what they want to do. The money and everything that comes with it is the byproduct of being a very good footballer at the highest of the profession, playing in the Premier League, etc., Champions League football, national football, whatever it may be, right? It's the upper echelons. It's the 1%. And they want to just play football. Most of these players just love football. There are a big percentage of footballers that are mercenaries. That's just the game's the game. You get that in any industry, any walk of life. But in this type of situation, I kind of Chelsea have just tied their own shoes. Do you know what I mean? They've tied their own shoes and they're trying to run. we put ourselves in this position. So fair play to Raheem Sterling. I want to know what the outcome's going to be, because Sterling could just stand firm and basically call Chelsea's bluff and be like, look, I'll walk away if you pay me up, pay my contract out. Sweet, I'll go. Not a problem. I'm then a free agent. I can go somewhere else. Happily take the wages because I'm getting a massive payday from you. You know, Raheem Sterling could just dig his heels and be like, nah, I'm quite happy just doing my training, having some family time, getting paid. Do you know what I mean? And I don't blame him for that. And Chelsea can kind of just be like, all right, well, we either just see this out for 2 years, try and make money elsewhere to kind of counter off the wages we're paying Sterling, or they just go, do you know what? It ain't worth the hassle. We respect that you want to stay in this part of London. We respect that you want the family time. You know, I'm glad that they're saying that. Like, you know, it's understandable what you want, but you are making things very difficult for us. Not in a non-professional way, but in terms of just limiting options. They could just get fed up and pay him off. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens. I think it will go with the latter. I think Chelsea will eventually go, do you know what? If we can't find you a suitor in January, we're just going to pay your contract off. And then that's it. We can cut ties. You do you. We do what we need to do. Good luck to you. Unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? Like, you go do what you need to do for the rest of your career. That's what I personally think would happen. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Would you just terminate his contract and pay the 20 million up front? Or do you feel like Chelsea are going to try and long this out, see what, you know, who buckles first, where Sterling reduces wages for the remainder of his contract? Or, you know, is Raheem Sterling going to dig his heels in? What would you do in that situation? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. S. Johnson Sport has reported the international break means Marc Guiu has to delay a reunion with his Chelsea teammates for now, but he cannot wait to get started. He continues to report that Enzo Maresca appreciates the intensity, hunger and passion that Marc Guiu puts into training session and games. The significance of this should not be ignored. Maresca dropped several players last season for not doing enough. I absolutely love it when things like this come out. This is what you want from all of your professional footballers. All of the players at your team, you want them to be hungry, passionate, working hard, wanting to be the best that they can be. And we've established that this team that we've got now is very much in that elite mindset of wanting to win things, working for each other, running through brick walls for Maresca, you know, playing for each other, wanting to be the best, that fire in their belly, grit in between their teeth. They want to win things. We're here to dominate. That's what they want to do. They know it's a long path, but we're improving and we're already winning things. So the fact that you've got someone like Marc Guiu who has raw ability, we've seen how good he is, picking him up for like £6 million, an absolute bargain from Barcelona Academy. Like, the fact that he's got that mindset already, works hard, big intensity, wants to push through, wants to make it. I am genuinely so happy for him, because I think that this is going to be a massive opportunity for him to get more minutes and more game time. I'm just hoping that he doesn't try too hard, that it doesn't work for him, if that makes any sense. We've seen this before. Timo Werner, I think, is probably the main culprit, where he wanted it to work so much that he over-tried and it didn't work because of that. Whereas if he would have just been himself, relaxed a little bit, then things may have gone his way. Who knows? We've had a few players like that over the seasons, but I hope that Marc Guiu really does flourish. He develops and he proves a lot of people wrong. I don't feel like he's good enough to start Chelsea or, you know, lead Chelsea's lineup. Of course, he's very, very young and still in his development stages. However, I'm more than willing to give him time and give him a chance, because we've seen how good he is in terms of the, you know, the press, in terms of his defensive work rate. We know that his finishing is good, but it's still raw, and like his run making is good. Like, he's just a good player, and I feel like, you know, in the absence of Liam Delap, he has a similar profile as well. And thank you for you guys in the comments letting me know that he's actually taller than Liam Delap. He must just look smaller in person or on the cameras, right? Because I thought he was a little bit shorter, but he's not. He's actually taller than Delap. But he's a similar profile. I feel like Enzo Maresca can mould him into the player that he wants him to be, which is perfect for his system. He's definitely going to be getting service with the players behind him, like Joao Pedro, Palmer, Esteval, Neto, Gittins, Garnacho. There's just so many people to feed him. Enzo Fernandez, and Andre Santos, even Caicedo getting involved, Cucurella. So many players that can deliver him service, that he's going to have a field day. So if he can bag a few goals and get a good run of confidence, I feel like confidence is going to be massive for Marc Guiu going into this stretch, because he knows it's going to be a lot of pressure from fans, from himself, to try and deliver a standard that maybe he's not quite at yet. But at the same time, we've just got to make sure he's loved and cared for. You know, he understands he's developing. What I really like is Maresca has noticed that, and he's dropped other players last season for not putting in enough. And that speaks volumes, that he's willing to be like, if you don't work hard, I don't care if you're 18, 19 or 27, 28, what your money you're on, what you've achieved in your footballing career. If you don't work hard, you're not playing. Simple as that. And you can actually go back last season and probably pick out a few players that have been dropped for reasons like that. And maybe, I'm not trying to put words in anyone's mouth or make assumptions, maybe the players like Raheem Sterling, Nkunku at times or whatever, maybe Maresca thought they weren't working hard enough, or they just weren't part of the plans or whatever, for whatever, you know, part of time that was. Where he's like, no, what? I'm not going to give you an opportunity because you're not working as hard as I need you to be working. You're not giving your all like someone like Marc Guiu or a Cole Palmer or an Esteval, whoever it may be, Enzo, in training, who are working their ass off every single day. No chance. So I absolutely love that. Great mentality. It seems to mesh. And Marc Guiu wanting to get started, I'm sure he's extremely excited to have this opportunity. Obviously, it's at the misfortune of Delap being injured. But in terms of like, I've got a run of games now where I can, if I work hard and I outwork everyone, I will be starting, I will be playing, I can showcase what I can do and lead the line for Chelsea, play Champions League football, all the other competitions that are in and around that. I think it's like 5 games in 17 days or something silly in September, which is going to be absolutely wild with September into October. It's going to be absolutely wild. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I absolutely love hearing things like this, that Maresca has made note. And, you know, he's dropped other players because they've been lazy. He likes his work ethic and the passion. And Marc Guiu just putting his head down and working hard. So I want to know what you guys think about Marc Guiu leading the Chelsea line for the period that Delap is injured. Because I feel like he's still going to get minutes throughout the season when Delap comes back. It's going to be a nice rotation, especially if he does set the standard very high in Delap's absence. So what do you think the plan is for Marc Guiu for the rest of the season? Do you think he's just going to play primarily for the gap when Delap is in? Or do you feel like after that, if he proves himself, he will actually get a lot more minutes than we first thought? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Mr. Dom Smith has reported more of Joao Pedro's interview that we spoke about in yesterday's video. Joao Pedro said this on what makes Esteval special. He said, mate, he's from the street. You can see he is natural. Tosin said to me, Joao, wow, Esteval is amazing. Playing for Brazil and Chelsea at 18, oh my God, he's going to be like Vinicius Jr. And I'm going to go one more than that and say he's going to eclipse Vinicius Jr. This guy is frightening. He's absolutely frightening. He played for Brazil last night, scored a goal for Brazil. I think it was his debut goal for Brazil, like his first goal for him. And there's a picture of Joao Pedro and Esteval celebrating together. And look, international football for me personally is boring, but I like seeing things like that. Cucurella scored, Esteval scored, Pedro was playing very well. It's just really nice. It's just a nice time to be a Chelsea fan, knowing that our players are going to international and doing their job there as well. But Esteval is such a frightening talent, and honestly, we're going to talk about him till we're blue in the face, talk about him till everyone's bored of hearing the name, because honestly, 18 years old, to have the skill set he has, to come into that Chelsea team and already show, like, yeah, I'm here and I'm going to be playing well, to do it internationally, it's unbelievable. So we have some more on what Joao Pedro said in his interview, because he also thinks that he's going to match, or if not eclipse, Didier Drogba. The report continues to say that Joao Pedro hopes to match what Didier Drogba achieved. He said, for sure, because I have good players around me, step by step, but I need to stay humble. If we won the Premier League and Champions League, it will be a top season. And if you win titles, you can be a legend. Now, we've spoke about Joao Pedro's mentality so much here on this channel. He's very quickly becoming one of my favourite players because of so many aspects of his game. Not only how he performs on the pitch, how he holds himself in the media, and the things that he says collectively. It just ticks so many boxes for me. He's so good. And he, in my opinion, he can be the next Drogba. He has all the skill set, the mindset, the mentality, the ability, the performances on the pitch so far to really go on and do this. Now, obviously, it's early days. He has to do this for a consistent amount of time. He does have to go, in big games, get us across the line. He did it against PSG. He's done it against other clubs in the Club World Cup to prove that he can step up and be clinical in those moments of high pressure. He's doing it in the Premier League already, with the likes of Cole Palmer not being in the team, getting goals and assists, etc. He's unreal. And I totally agree with what he says. Now, look, if we win the Premier League and the Champions League in one season, then I don't know what I'd do. I think I'd faint. That's an unbelievable season. Just to win one of them, I'd be like, that's an unreal season. To win both, unreal. But he's saying if you win titles, you could be a legend. I totally agree. I totally agree. All of the legends from our golden era, which I was very lucky enough to watch the entire careers of, Drogba, Lampard, Terry, Cole, Cech, Ivanovic, Carvalho, even like Paulo Ferreira, all these players that went through these eras and won so much for us. It's because they won so much consistently. It was taking this elite mentality we've developed with this squad at a very young age, and winning and going on consistently and beating teams and winning trophies. We won 2 trophies last season. Regardless of what other rival fans think about the 2 trophies that we won, it's massive for Chelsea Football Club. It's massive for these players. It's massive for the dressing room. It's massive for Maresca. That's what we need to continue doing. So this season, with the likes of Joao Pedro and other players as well that share this mindset of we're going out to win. People are going to come to us because we're the world champions. That means we have to be on our game even more. We have to step things up. We can't rest on our laurels. We want to keep going. We want to win more trophies. What's the next one? What's the next one? We're not going to bask in what we've achieved last season. That's done. What's this season? I just absolutely love it. Chelsea are back, mate. And yes, this season isn't going to be perfect. We're not going to go unbeaten. We're not going to blow away records. Well, we might do. I'm happy to be proven wrong. There are going to be blips across the season, but I feel like we're in such a better position than we were last season. Like I said, the only thing that has question marks is that striking position in the absence of Delap. But once he's back, I feel more than confident having those 3 strikers in rotation. It's just while Delap is injured, we are hoping that Joao Pedro can play 9 or 10 and Marc Guiu can step in and just fill the shoes of what Delap would be doing in that time frame. And I feel very, very confident. So do you see Joao Pedro going on to be the next Drogba in terms of Chelsea legend? Do you think he's got the qualities and the skill set? Or do you just like the way he's talking and he has to prove it to you? That he's still undecided, you're on the fence. Very curious to know your thoughts down below. And Mykhailo Mudryk is serving another ban on top of his footballing ban, unfortunately. There is an article from Goal who reported that Mykhailo Mudryk is suspended. Chelsea driver Mykhailo Mudryk banned from driving for 6 months. Chelsea winger Mudryk has been handed a 6-month driving ban for repeatedly flouting UK traffic laws. Mudryk was provisionally suspended from football in December 2024 following a positive drugs test. In June, he was charged with violating anti-doping laws and is now awaiting the final outcome of an FA investigation. So he's been banned from driving for 6 months, serving a provisional suspension over the drugs test, and the FA is investigating. What happened? Mudryk was banned from driving for 6 months by Lavender Hill Magistrates Court after he collected 13 points on his licence in the space of 18 months. The winger has also been fined £660, ordered to pay £130 in costs, and to settle a £266 victim surcharge, according to the Evening Standard. The bigger picture. On January 24th, 2025, Mudryk was pulled over by the Met Police Special Constable Andrew Kinsella for driving at 36 mile an hour in a 20 mile an hour zone, you naughty boy. At which stage he'd already had 8 points on his license. The Ukrainian later pleaded guilty in writing to the court. Mudryk was facing an automatic driving disqualification as an open court hearing was penciled in for August 21st. Magistrates gave Mudryk 5 extra points on his license, and he was ordered to pay the court of over £1,000 by September 17th. What has been said? On Mudryk's speeding offence, Officer Kinsella said initially, the driver did not stop at the location and I followed the driver in my car. After indicating for him to stop a number of times further up the road, the driver eventually pulled over in Straith Terrace. Mudryk, you've been a naughty boy. Now, obviously, we're still waiting for the investigation, like the anti-doping sort of a finalised date or period that he's going to be suspended for, which I kind of feel for him, right? And it's been a bit of a convoluted year, a turbulent year for Mykhailo Mudryk, right? Because if I'm being honest, I really wanted Mudryk to do well. It's been very tough for him getting into Chelsea and trying to set the standards. And, you've had previous managers like Lampard saying, like, he's just not got a footballing brain, but he's got the ability, like, maybe it can be coached into him. And then you've also got the likes of Maresca that's trying to, protect him and give him the opportunities. He looked like he'd been bulking up, which is very coincidental with the anti-doping laws this season when he was playing Europa Conference League. He had a very good run in the Europa Conference League, scoring bangers in that competition, and he just looked a lot more confident, right? He also did look a bit more beefy, which, whether or not he's been found guilty or not, I mean, he has been found guilty, but it's that extended period of time. Obviously, there's a whole murky waters where he was on international duty and over where he took it. It wasn't illegal, but it is here and all of that. I just feel for the guy because I genuinely feel like he is another player that is kind of over trying to make it work. Like he wants it to work so much that he's trying too hard and it's not going his way. But what I said earlier on the video, I hope Marc Guiu doesn't do the likes of Timo Werner and other players have done in the past. But this is jokes. Like, it's obviously it's a serious thing. You shouldn't be driving like this, and the fact that he just didn't pull over for the police officer is just quite worrying. Maybe it's just genuinely he didn't know, and sometimes we've all been driving and you kind of go, oh wow, I need to do that or whatever. Sometimes you're on autopilot, so maybe it was that. Maybe you thought, oh, he's pulling someone else over, and then you thought, oh, actually no, that's me. Okay, cool, I better pull over. But doing 36 and a 20. Naughty boy. Shouldn't be doing that. But it could be worse. He could be doing 110 down the motorway. It could have been a lot worse, or he could have caused an accident. In the bigger picture of things, it's not that deep. But to pick up that many points in such a short space of time, I don't want to be that guy, but do you need to retake your license? Because that's a lot of points in a short space. That's basically just ignoring all of the road laws. It must be so different in Ukraine to the UK. It must be so wildly different that he's just like, yeah, whatever, cool, pick up the points. Or probably not even realise he's picking up the points. But yeah, this is not a good look for Mudryk. Not to put him down. Look, we all get points on our license at some point. You're lucky if you don't. I've been very close once, but then I had to do like an awareness course when I very first started driving many moons ago. But yeah, points aren't the end of the world. It's whether you're driving dangerously, and this is just, I don't know if this is just incompetence, where he just doesn't know the road laws and he's just picking up points without knowing, or ignorance of like, I'll be all right, I'm a footballer. I don't really know, but seeing what Mykhailo Mudryk's sort of demeanour is, I feel like he's not intentionally doing it, right? I feel like he's just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, was I doing something wrong? All right, fair enough. And I feel like that's been the case for him since being over here, which is, he's kind of struggled with the footballing side of things. So, hey, also, just to let you know, it's international break, if you didn't know. So, the news is pretty dry. I'm clutching at straws here. I'm trying my best. So, I hope you appreciate the content that's still coming daily. And I'm also in the process of moving house. So, content may be on the ropes for the next few days while I actually move offices. But yes, let me know your thoughts and opinions regarding Mykhailo Mudryk. Do you feel like he's been unlucky for stacking up this, the football in charge? Do you think that was kind of all his intent? Or do you think it was kind of misguidance from him, of him trusting the professionals that have turned in the wrong way? And what are your thoughts on the driving ban? Because 6 months is a long time and he's not playing football. So what do you think? Is it incompetence? Does he not know the road laws? Or is he intentionally just doing this thinking, I'm a footballer, I can get away with it? I'm very curious to know your thoughts. And that's the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you haven't watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one. And I mean that, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.